Namaste. Welcome to the Ilongga Yogi Podcast. My name is Kate. I'm from Iloilo City. I'm a certified yoga instructor and I own a yoga studio here called Bodyloveyogailoilo Yoga Studio. I share content on yoga, mindfulness, fitness, mental health, self-care, and wellness. Before we get into it, I want to let you know that I teach classes both at my studio and online. So if you're interested in taking a class with me, just head over to ilonggayogi.com/bodyloveyogastudio for the schedule and rates and to book as well. So hello, welcome here. I'm so happy that you are here with me and that you're taking the time out of your day to listen, to hang out with me. It's really nice to be able to talk here and share different things. And for this episode, I'll actually share more about some updates happening in my life. And for this update, this is kind of a big one. This is a special one, a very personal one too. I just wanted to share that I am recently engaged. And this is something that me and my now fiance have always talked about, and so we kind of knew that we were headed in that direction anyway. And it's so exciting that he popped the question and that we're here in this new chapter in our life. We're here planning the wedding already, and it's all like overwhelming. Of course, you're trying to plan every single detail for this one moment in your life. So just trying to remind myself to take it one day at a time, to enjoy the whole process and to not let it get too stressful, because I know that it will eventually, but to just enjoy it, to take it all very lightly. So that's kind of where I'm at. And, that has made me really happy recently and has allowed me to really connect with my partner in a different way, in a deeper way as well. And it's kind of funny that my last episode here was about our relationship and like just soon after he proposed. So that was kind of interesting. So anyway, that's been the most recent thing that has happened to me, and it's all very happy and good vibes. And I hope that the rest of the episode will also be that way, because I have nothing but like good news to share actually today. And usually I would do these little updates, life with bipolar, on YouTube, just to kind of share what's been happening in my life recently and how I'm coping with my mental health, managing my mental health. And it's just like a way for me to look back and see what I've learned back then, what lessons I have learned, what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and also to just recall like happy memories or good times that have happened that I was able to document. And I wanted to try doing that here on this podcast so that it can be more of like just me sitting down chatting with you who may be listening right now, and just hopefully this is a way for you to learn from me too. Of course, that's actually like the main goal. My intention for this is to share with you other lessons or other methods that work for me in managing my mental health, rather than just what is typically practiced and what is usually followed. And so yeah, that's basically what you can expect from this episode today. And I wanted to first start off with my endometriosis, my update on my endometriosis. So for those who are not familiar with endometriosis, I do talk about it in more depth in one of the episodes here on this podcast, and I also talk about it on YouTube as well. So you can just check for those videos, for those content there, so that you can really listen to my story and what happened and what endometriosis is. But basically just a rundown. I was diagnosed with endometriosis like several years ago. I think it was like in 2016 or 2015, sometime around that year. And I had surgery, didn't take medication after, and everything was kind of okay at first, but then in 2020, I noticed that my period would get very, very painful. It was really painful. And up to this year, I experienced very brutal and intense, extreme pain. So I knew that I needed to get it checked, because that wasn't okay anymore. I couldn't function anymore. There were days when I was on my period that I could not get out of bed. I was literally bedridden because it was just so painful to move. I was trying to figure out like what's the best way to lay in bed to lessen the pain. Even though I would take ibuprofen all day long, it still didn't work. I would literally just go to the shower, And it would be even so hard to walk to the shower and just keep the hot water running and just like cry while the hot water was hitting where it was very painful for me. Basically, I would feel like this sharp radiating pain from one side of my pelvis, and I would feel it in my lower back, in my lower belly, down to my left leg. So it would be like this crescendo sensation. You know how it starts like not bad, but you feel the pain, and then like suddenly it would get really worse, really extreme and intense, and then it would go back down, and it would keep doing that again and again. So it made it like really hard to do anything. I couldn't stand, I couldn't walk, I couldn't leave the house because it was that painful. And there were many instances where I would like even tell my fiance to take me to the hospital because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't handle it anymore. And he was always just like so worried about me. And so I knew that I needed to take action, especially since I turned 30 this year. And, you know, it's my goal to become a mom. And I know that with women who have endometriosis, it's hard to get pregnant, sometimes impossible to get pregnant. And so, you know, I, as much as possible, want to see if there are if there's anything that I can do right now to hopefully heal it or manage it in some way. So went to the OB, and of course the only option is to take birth control pills or to get this sort of injection. I didn't ask much about it. I was just so overwhelmed by the side effects and what it can do to you. So that was a bit too much for me. And again, I didn't want to resort to it just yet without trying as many alternative methods as I could and seeing if anything else would work before giving in to medication and giving in to the usual prescription, right? And of course, as I always say, I'm not trying to label medicine or medication as something that's bad for you. If anything, it's good for us, and it works. It's proven to work. It always does. But when it comes to certain medication, like let's say birth control or injections or even like antidepressants, based on my experience, I just am not comfortable, and I'm never at peace with how it affects me. And that's just how I've always been. So as much as possible, it's why, you know, with my mental health, with my bipolar 2, I took the path of seeing if I could take care of it or manage it through mindfulness, through yoga, through therapy, rather than just taking meds. And that's kind of the same approach that I am taking now, seeing if there are other methods, other ways to manage it. And so after that, I did a little bit of research, looked it up online, and then I found that acupuncture is actually something that is used to help manage endometriosis. And so I am very lucky that even in a small city, a small province like Iloilo, there is actually a doctor who practices acupuncture who is certified in it. And so I went to him immediately, and he told me that I had to keep coming back for the next 3 months, twice every week, to get this under control and hopefully to see any progress. Of course, it depends on each person, but he has had many patients with endometriosis, and as he said, there was a lot of success, there was a lot of progress. And usually, though, in traditional Chinese medicine, he explained it to me too, you're supposed to do it 5 days before your period arrives, and then during your period, that's when you get acupuncture every day, and then 5 days after. But he knew that based on experience, it was just too much to ask your patient to come every single day for like a week or two, for 2 weeks, because that's kind of how long it'll all last. And so his way of fixing that or making it more convenient for everyone is to ask his patients to come twice a week, every week for 3 months. And it works just the same way. It may take a little bit longer, but it works. And so that's what I did. I followed what he did. And when I first came to him, I had a couple of acupuncture sessions, and then I remember my period came, and he told me that don't count this period, because this is just the beginning. We want to see 3 of your periods after several sessions already for you to actually say if this is working or not. So I said, okay. But I just wanted to keep coming back anyway. And I was curious to see how my first period would feel like. So right after those 2 sessions, I got my period. And I remember on the first day, I did feel very, very nauseous. And I've had bouts of this in the past, not very often. This was kind of a unique experience, and it wasn't the best experience either. But I did remember I was very nauseous. I had cold sweats, chills. My stomach felt like the feeling when you have diarrhea, that kind of feeling, and I felt like vomiting. So I went home immediately because I felt all of this while we were having breakfast at a restaurant, me and my boyfriend, or fiance now. And then when I got home, I just took ibuprofen. And usually this is what I always do whenever I'm on my period. I would take a lot of ibuprofen, and I didn't really like that, but it was like the only thing that would help me. So I did that, took a nap, and then when I woke up, I felt like nothing. I felt like my normal self, and I was like, this is the first time that I've ever felt this way. And I just kind of told myself, I kind of doubted myself a little bit, thinking that maybe this is just like day 1. And of course, usually day 1 isn't as intense as day 2. So we'll just see the next day. And the next day came, and I noticed that, remember that crescendo pain I would feel on my pelvis on my left side. I noticed that it would never get to a point where it was as painful as before. So I would feel it coming, but it would kind of stop at like 30%, and then it would go away. So there, I knew that that's something. The acupuncture is working. And I was only 2 sessions in, and I already felt a huge difference. And this was a big deal for me, for someone who just like a month ago was dying and rolling in bed, crying in the shower, just could not do anything. So that was a huge deal. And I remember I was able to work. I had no problem working. I had no problem moving my body, working out. It was the greatest thing that I've experienced for a long time. So that was a good sign. And then came my second and third period, and it was the same thing, but without the nausea. And that made me feel much better too, because I didn't have the nausea anymore. But I do remember that before my period, I would still get my migraines. And so I usually just take ibuprofen for the migraines, because the migraines, those are not fun at all. And that really puts you out. You can't, again, function. But during my period, like day 1, day 2, day 3, same thing. I would no longer feel that intense pain. I would be able to do things already, to work, same thing, to move, kind of just me, my normal self. And then I realized that for the first time, I felt cramps again, because that other pain, that pelvic pain, was so overpowering that I barely could feel my cramps. And I remember, like, during those past periods that I had, when I started to feel cramps, it's like, this is how it feels to have cramps. It's been so long since I've been aware of cramps, and I have felt my cramps, because again, the pelvic pain was so bad. So that's something. And the cramps are completely bearable. I just put a hot pack over it and peppermint oil, and I can tolerate it. I'll be fine, It's more of that pelvic pain that really stops you from functioning properly. So the second and third period, way better, very mild symptoms, no problem at all. Then came my final period, which is what my doctor told me to be aware of, to keep track of. And for the last one, same thing, very mild, no problem at all, just a migraine the day, like a few days before, and nothing, like completely nothing. Like, I'm able to work. I was so productive. I was able to do the things that I needed to do, but of course at a slower pace, because I still like and prefer to honor the days when I'm on my period, to slow down and everything, and to honor my energy. And so, but still, like, I was able to work out on my third day. I was able to practice yoga, to work and get a lot of like big tasks out of the way. So that was a huge deal for me. And my doctor even asked me how I'm doing, if I wanted to continue the sessions. And I told him, yes, I want to keep doing this, because again, I still feel a little bit like remnants of that pelvic pain, very manageable, but I want to see, if I keep doing this, if there is a possibility that it might completely go away. And again, I told myself that I'll keep doing this until the end of this year, and hopefully by next year, when I get it checked again, I just pray that there is some sort of progress. Hopefully there are no more growths. Maybe the things that were growing there, like the cysts, are not there anymore. Hopefully that's that's the best case scenario. But anything I will take, any little progress there is, I will take, because honestly, acupuncture has been life-changing. It has helped me so much. I really, if you had to go through this every single month, you would know, you would understand. And it is not nice. It is not fun. It is not nice at all. And I can't believe that for so many years, I just allowed myself to suffer in brutal pain, real brutal pain, because it was that bad. And that this is how I'm supposed to feel. I'm not supposed to be in so much pain that I can't even breathe anymore, So I'm just so glad that I found acupuncture and that this is working so far. And so if you're someone who's also struggling with any condition similar to endometriosis, I tell you, give it a try, because I know how stressful medication can be for some people. And if that's you, maybe try acupuncture. You will be spending a little bit more than you would with medication, but I tell you, it is so effective, and it has worked for me so well. And this is just another option, an alternative method that you may like and may give you a sense of peace and make you feel more secure. So let's take a quick break from this episode to talk about my juice brand. If you're in Iloilo City and looking for healthy juice that doesn't have any added sugar, no preservatives, and is packed with a variety of vegetables and fruits, then you should try Daily Greens. With 2 flavors, we have Healthy Greens, which is mostly leafy greens, and Carrots and Veg, which is 50% carrots and other vegetables and fruits. This is unlike any other juice sold on the market. Most juices are packed with more fruits to help it taste better, but completely miss the point of being a nutritious and healthy drink. Remember, fruits are still considered as sugar and must be enjoyed in controlled portions. Daily Greens makes sure that you get the most out of a bottle, packing it with more vegetables than fruits and making it fresh daily, not to mention affordable for everyone. You can enjoy a bottle or 2 every day, which is perfect if your goal is to maintain healthy yet easy habits in the long run. Because we want to ensure the best quality, I encourage you to pre-order at least a day before, and you can either pick it up at my yoga studio, Bodylove Yoga Studio in Mandurriao, or have it delivered straight to you via Maxim. This is your sign to start building healthier habits in the most convenient way with Daily Greens. So now that I've gotten you up to speed with my endometriosis, and it's all been good news there, and I hope that it can also help you or anyone you know that may be suffering with a similar condition, I wanted to talk about my bipolar 2 now, and just an update on my mental health. So actually, for the past several months, I already shared it everywhere that I was having this streak. So on YouTube and on here, I talked about how I was having this really good streak of just feeling good. Energy was great. Nothing, no dips, no moments of feeling sad or depressed, just really good. And then August came, and the first few weeks of August were kind of a little bit of a struggle. I had a bit of a hiccup and more of just having really low energy. So I started out a week of just feeling really down, almost like my energy was so low that I didn't feel like moving much, I didn't feel like doing much. And usually I just allow that to happen because I know that that's okay. There are moments where my energy fluctuates, and so whenever I feel a bit down, I just kind of allow myself to slow down a little bit, to kind of reflect on it, listen to it a little bit, and most of the time I start to feel better after a few days and I'm able to get back on track. But then the week after, I started to feel sickly. I didn't get sick or anything. I just felt like my body was really weak for some reason. And so I had no energy to work out or do anything. And because of that, because I had a hard time, 2 weeks of not doing my usual routine, it really made it really had an impact on my mental health. And so I kind of struggled to pick myself back up again. My mind was very cluttered. I just felt like really anxious. I couldn't sleep. It was really tough. I even had to do Reiki healing. I found someone online on Instagram, and I was able to do a Reiki healing session with her, and just to help me sleep, because I was really struggling. But good thing that a few days before my fiance's birthday trip, which was also the weekend he proposed, I was able to kind of pick myself back up again, although I was still kind of a little emotional, still a little stressed, still a little off, and I couldn't really explain it. Just I felt very off, and so I was just a mess, basically. I was able to feel a little bit better days prior to our little birthday trip, and I was able to get back on track after that. Eventually, today, which is already a couple of weeks after his birthday, after that trip, I feel like I am myself again, and so I'm very, very happy that I'm back here, because it's not really fun whenever you have to deal with those low points and you have that fear of how low are you gonna go whenever that happens. And what I've learned, which is the main thing that I wanted to share, is that I decided to shift a few things, to adjust a few things in my routine. So for example, because I knew that my energy level wasn't the same for some reason, I just wasn't as hyper, I guess, as I normally would be in a balanced way, in a grounded way. I decided to adjust first my morning routine, or my exercise and morning routine. So I told myself that I should wake up early, and as usual, or wake up whenever I can wake up, and right away journal in bed, because I used to do it when I'm having my morning coffee, or while I'm waiting for June to get dressed before we go to the gym. So I decided to do it in bed so that I can get it out of the way immediately, because I wasn't on my journaling game for a while too. So I figured maybe that might be a good solution. And then, of course, to continue meditating in the morning. And then I decided to not work out every single day anymore, because I used to do it Monday to Friday. So now I said maybe I should lessen that so that I can reserve my energy for other things that matter to me now. So I am now working out 3 times a week. And then I've tried other exercises like Pilates and bar, just so that I can do other things that I can use for when I'm teaching my yoga classes, and so that I have energy to actually attend full yoga classes or to keep practicing, because when I'm tired, I can't practice. And when I can't practice, then I kind of end up teaching the same thing in my classes. And as much as possible, I want to be able to teach my students something valuable each class, and teach them something new each class. So that matters to me. So changing up my routine has definitely helped. I even changed my work routine as well, because I usually have a designated work task per day, so that I only have to work for 2 hours to 3 hours max, and use those 2 to 3 hours to work really mindfully, focused, intently, not distracted. And that has worked for me. And so I kind of shifted things around a little bit to better suit my energy levels throughout the week, because I know that come Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, my energy dips, basically. It dips down. And so I need to adjust things so that I can do the complicated things, the hard, difficult tasks earlier in the week when I have the most energy, and then the easier, more fun tasks that almost feel like more of a reward towards the end of the week. So adjusted that as well. And even in the way I eat, I looked at that and tried to manage that in a way that isn't because I want to lose weight or diet or anything, but more because I want to be more mindful in what I eat, when I eat, and how I eat. And I know that I don't really enjoy restricting myself. I like to indulge a lot, but what I can do is adjust the time that I eat. So although it may sound like it's intermittent fasting and it's IF and all these things, I don't want to label it that way, because I'm not really following it by heart, but more of adjusting the time I eat so that when I eat at a time where I am actually hungry, and that it is used to fuel me for whatever activity I have to do next. Because sometimes when I eat a lot in the morning, I get very sleepy, very, very tired right away. So shifting it a little bit has helped me a lot. And then giving myself like a shorter window allows me to really pick what meal I'm going to have for the day, because I know that I only have one more meal left. I only have a few more hours left. I shouldn't be eating junk during this window. So it has really worked for me, and I actually really like it because it has allowed me to, again, be very aware of what I eat. Otherwise, I would just eat anything, anytime, anywhere. So that's kind of what has happened. And what I have learned from that experience is that being able to shift gears whenever you feel that you're about to dip down, your energy doesn't feel the same, it actually serves as like this reset button. So it feels like I'm resetting myself, and that alone gives me like a newfound excitement, kind of newfound motivation that helps me power through the rest of the day. So it has really worked for me. So if you're somebody who kind of struggles with those dips, with figuring out your energy, your mood at times, and you feel like you're a huge mess sometimes, or you cannot control those moments of feeling really depressed, I would definitely recommend you trying this out too. See what you can shift. Like, what can you change in your routine? What can you adjust in your daily routine to help you feel more balanced, to help you feel like you have recharged yourself and make you more excited again to do things that you used to love. And notice how it plays out for you, because for me, it really helped me a lot. It really helps me become more mindful of what I'm doing, whether this routine is working for me, whether what I'm eating is the best for me, this meal is the best for me, and it just helps keep me balanced and grounded as well. So again, as just a little recap of everything that I've shared today, when it comes to my endometriosis, I'm so happy that I found acupuncture, because acupuncture has been working so far, and I'll continue it. And I can't wait to update you again, maybe after another 5-6 months, to see if anything has changed, and hopefully something has changed, and hopefully it's for the best. And if you're dealing with endometriosis or anything similar, I know how painful it is and how intense it is. And so if there's any way that you can get that checked, do not worry, do not be afraid of it, because it may be the best thing that you can do for yourself, and give acupuncture a try. And then lastly, when it comes to mental health, really learning to be more mindful and constantly shifting, like being flexible enough to shift and to adjust things to be able to fit like where you are in this current moment, I think is the best way to deal, especially with bipolar 2, with anything that's kind of similar with that has to do with like these fluctuations in your mood and your energy. Because our energy, our mood is constantly changing. A lot of things happen throughout the day, throughout the week, throughout the months that will really affect it. And if you take the time to listen carefully for those dips, for those shifts, then you'll be able to catch it early on and look at what is not working for you, look at what is working for you, what can you switch around, adjust, maybe change, maybe let go, and hopefully that'll be enough for you to feel balanced again and to feel like you are still on the right path. So thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Ilongga Yogi Podcast. Check out my blog, ilonggayogi.com, for more similar content, and follow me on my socials at Ilongga Yogi. Wishing you peace in the body, peace in the mind, and peace in your heart wherever you are. Take care, and I'll talk to you again soon.